We'll see. I'll have to like imagine this. Like I could change it to 1 to 2 and then work on it. How's it going? I know.
But it shouldn't be normal. No, it's not going to be normal. Yes, they have, because they need somebody like me that's going to come speak up in the meeting. Yeah, because I walk for people.
Should be able to hear me. Start talking.
Not even that, but when they come into they talk condescending to us. They talk down to us. They don't talk to us for respect. They don't talk to us for respect.
The meeting will come to order, and Deputy City Clerk Bridget Birch-White will call the roll.
Councilmember Gruber is excused. Councilmember Lightfoot is excused. Councilmember Lupien is excused. Councilmember Martin?
Here.
Councilmember Monroe?
Here.
Councilmember Patterson? Here. Councilmember Smith is excused. Vice President Harris?
Here.
And President Melendez?
Here. First and foremost, I just want to acknowledge that one of our colleagues had a death in the family, Councilmember Gruber, and is unfortunately unable to make it tonight. And a few others had either commitments or that are out of town or came under the weather. So apologies for not having all 9 of us here, but we're here to listen tonight, and we appreciate you all being here as well. New York State law requires that City Council hold public hearings as it considers specific legislative actions. The city clerk will open each public hearing, and anyone wishing to comment on the relevant matter may come to the podium at that time. After public hearings conclude, Speak to Council will begin. Speak to Council is a time for members of the public to comment on any and all matters relating to this city. Sign-ups for this session closed at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. The list of speakers can be found at the back of the room and in the hallway. Speakers discussing legislation on this month's City Council agenda are placed on the A list. Speakers commenting on any and all other matters are placed on the B list. Under City Council rules, the Deputy City Clerk will call city residents first, since this is the Rochester City Council and we prioritize our citizens speaking to their elected representatives. As a reminder, the council is here to listen to all matters, and it is customary that we do not respond. Now let's begin this month's public hearings. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes at the podium, and the Deputy Clerk will lead us through each hearing. Deputy City Clerk Bridget Birch-White.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: amending the 2017-18 Annual Action Plan relating to business development programs, introductory number 337. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
If there are no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned. That was... Yes, ma'am. This was related to introductory number 337,
Yes.
Which we had a public hearing related to the annual action plan. And with no speakers, we adjourned that, and now we're going to move into our Speak to Council session. Yes, ma'am. Yes. All right. So we will now begin our Speak to Council session. All speakers will be given 2 minutes at the podium. We respectfully ask that each speaker offer council the same respect that they would expect to receive in return. In doing so, please refrain from profanity and other harmful language. Council members do have the contact information for all of tonight's speakers and may follow up on any concerns that pique their interests. Deputy City Clerk Bridget Birch-White will call each speaker to the podium. We ask that you respect the time of those waiting behind you and yield the podium at the end of your allotted 2 minutes. Deputy City Clerk Bridget Birch-White.
Our first speaker is Anita Jones. Is Anita Jones here? Carolyn Riley. Carolyn Riley is from the Northwest District.
My name is Carolyn Riley. I'm a Rochester resident. I've been here for a while. I applied for a city grant for the, I'm sorry?
Speak up.
I applied for a city grant in the city of Rochester to get my house repaired. The city sent a contractor to my house who effectively has removed me from my home. They were made aware of it. I contacted everyone. I contacted you, Mr. President. Melendez Jr., I contacted you 3 times. Not only did I not get a resolution, I didn't get a call back. If it weren't for Councilwoman Ms. Martin over here, I wouldn't be standing here today. She came to my house. She saw the damage that was done. Not only did the net office come in and they failed my house immediately, I pretty much have been given the runaround by every member of the Building and Zoning. So I'm going to go ahead and go down a quick list for the 2 minutes that you guys graciously gave me. Conrad Foss is like the leader of the pack with this situation. Then there's Noel Vasquez, Building and Zoning. Joanna Santiago. When she found out that the contractor dropped feces on my 2-month-old grandson twice because he said he had too much alcohol, I notified them. Nothing happened. I contacted, okay, here we go, Shira May from the Center for Dispute Settlement. Once she got involved, she made it clear that basically she worked for the city. I went to the Better Contractors Bureau. Once I went to the Better Contractors Bureau and paid $275 to get this matter resolved, they found in favor of me. Their guy, the William J. Daniels, who's the judge, he found 25 violations in my house, and yet he still ruled in favor of the contractor. Better Contractors Bureau found 50 violations in my home, and then Shira May from the Center of Dispute Settlement told them, if you do anything else to assist Mrs. Riley, the city's not doing business with you anymore. So, because I called Miguel Melendez Jr. 3 times, Mitch Gruber two times, I called Stanley Martin 3 times.
Your time is up, ma'am.
Is there anybody that's gonna try to speak to me about this later or something?
Ma'am, I'll be here tonight if you want to stick around. After, I'll
Appreciate
be
that.
happy to talk. Thanks.
Esther Rivkin. Is Esther Rivkin here? Esther Rivkin is from the East District.
My name is Esther Rivkin. Miguel, I'm not sure why you haven't signed on to this petition for good cause yet, but a few of your legislators have already signed on. The best version of the good cause eviction will help out so many of us. I live at Pinnacle Place, and there are so many code violations there that DSS won't even pay back rent for anybody there, that their elevator keeps breaking down, rats live there, the roaches live there, and I don't know why they're not paying half the rent. I'm paying more rent than 30% of my income. I'm having issues with Rochester Housing about that. Like, there's so much going on with everything with PAP stones. I guess now they're switching over landlords. Like, so much is going on in Rochester. We need the best version of good cause so that the tenants aren't getting screwed over by the landlords. Because I've been going through this for over a year now, back and forth with Rochester Housing, PAP stones, and everybody's passing in a buck, and no one knows who's charging me the extra rent, but somebody's charging me more than 30% of my income. I'm only getting $900, and $554 is way more than $900 or 30%. I'm just saying. We're struggling here. We just want to survive. You know, Rochester is a poor town. Like, we could do so much better. The poverty rate here is bad. The HIV rate is bad. Like, now we're doing something at the Trillium. So come on, let's do something for us.
Peter Peters. Peter Peters is from the East District.
President Melendez and members of council, my name is Peter Peters. Tonight I am pleased to inform you that the whole board of REACH Advocacy, Inc. supports the stronger version of the good cause eviction legislation. Letters to each of you have been handed to the clerk for delivery to your mailbox. Please be sure to read them. Why is REACH supporting this stronger version of the good cause eviction bill? First, because we believe that housing is a human right, and we've heard too many stories of people with very low income being treated unfairly by unscrupulous landlords. We are not against landlords. In fact, we deal with many landlords in placing our guests in supportive housing, but we have also cared for people who are victims of unfair practices. Second, we believe that tenants deserve to feel safe in their homes and not face the threat of eviction due to unfair rent increases or the failure of the landlord to take good care of their property. It is in the interest of the city that all of us to be sure that tenants are secure in their homes. Third, we are concerned that children in households that do not feel secure in their homes have to deal with high levels of anxiety, which affects their performance in school. In such circumstances, these children are the victims of unjust housing system. We can do better by our children. Please read the story of Mary in our letter to you. No tenant should be treated in this way. Please adopt the strongest version of the good cause eviction law that is coming before you. Thank you.
Justine Harris. Justine Harris. Samantha Dinga. Samantha Dinga is from the South District and will be followed by Justin Keeber King.
Hi, my name is Sam Dinga, and I wanted to come here today because every day that you wait to pass the strongest good cause eviction protections possible, children's, family, real people are being forced into homelessness without reason. No one deserves homelessness, and we live in a place that pretends homelessness is an unavoidable result when it just fully doesn't have to be. Any move to push back the good cause eviction vote or to push to keep the LLC loophole open is a move telling your constituents that you don't care about their safety and their futures. The people are coming before you and have been coming for months, pleading for you to use your positions of power to do something to make this not their reality. You all hold positions that mean your constituents rely on your ability to make decisions to protect them against the systems that are designed to put profits over people. We need good cause eviction protections, rent stabilization, and public utilities to keep our local communities safe and at the forefront of our focus. Next year, 5 of your seats on City Council are up for renewal. Mitch Gruber, Willie Lightfoot, Kim Smith, Stanley Martin, and President Miguel Melendez. I'm watching your positions on this issue, and I will remember who refused to include me, my family, and thousands of other people in this bill. I already know that I'm going to be voting for Kim and Stanley to be keeping their seats because I have seen through their words and actions that they care about me and the people of Rochester. Mitch and Willie aren't here tonight, so particularly President Miguel Melendez, I am hoping that by the time I come here again next month, I can say that you have already amended and passed the strongest version of good cause eviction protections. I will not be voting for anyone who says my landlord's right to raise rents is more important than my right to stable and secure housing. Thank you.
Justin Keeber King from the East District, to be followed by Robert McFarlane.
Hey all, my name is Justin. I'm a tenant in Brighton, and I'm here today to, in full support of the best and strongest version of good cause. The main thing I want to ask today is how long will it take to get an answer on good cause, and how long will it be held in committee? I know that there might be excuses of, it's going to hurt landlords. This way is the housing market in Rochester is going to go to become terrible. But I think it's pretty clear from the 6 other places that have passed good cause in New York that landlords there are thriving. The housing markets there are doing just fine. So I think from those, it's pretty obvious that it's not going to completely destroy the housing market. I think with that as well, from the numbers that we were seeing from all of the public hearings that happened over the past number of weeks, more than 80% of people were in support of good cause. And I think if we were to poll and talk to more people in the city, aside from the people that came to those hearings, I think a similar number and percentage of people would be in support of good cause. And as Sam very well said, those people are the majority of people that are gonna, that voted you into office and will, either keep or vote you out. And, I think that those are also the majority of people that will be making a majority of the noise in the upcoming number of weeks. So again, I hope that the next time I come, we will all have voted in support of good cause and we'll have passed it. Thank you.
Robert McFarlane. Joseph Maxim. Joseph Maxim is from the Northeast District and will be followed by Lorraine Parr.
Hello, my name is Joseph Maxim. I'm here to ask you to pass the strongest form of good cause eviction. And Miguel Melendez, why are you continually allowing landlords to violate real property law and collect rent without a certification of occupancy? And Michael Patterson, well, last time we spoke, you couldn't answer my question whether you're required to have a faithful performance ban under New York state law, and you certainly are. And I'm going to contact Washington, D.C. and request that information to see if I can file a complaint, because I do not feel you are doing your job, along with some other elected officials that are here, such as you are allowed to do with a surety bond, which you are not required to have. Thank you very much, and please pass the strongest form of good cause eviction protection.
Lorraine Parr from the South District, to be followed by Jordan Hughes.
Give it up. Good evening, council. Here we are every month with the same issues, the same problems that are not being addressed. Why is that, everybody? Why? Why do you think? I don't know either. Homelessness and the abundance of pets on the streets go hand in hand. By implementing a city ordinance for county residents to buy property. Quit letting these out-of-town people buy up all our property. Why? Why are you letting this happen? Are you in cahoots with developers? Are you getting some kickbacks? What's going on here? We are not being allowed to have our own property. We can't even buy a house because you're letting all these people from all over take it. Yes, that's right. Why want our government, which is run by us, and you represent us? Don't you remember the oath you took? You took an oath to represent the people. You're not doing that. So why don't you start doing that, okay? Because these pets are running around because the people cannot afford the money for pet rent. They want $50 to $100 per pet. So now we have all these animals roaming around the streets, and they're all being run over, not taken care of. So now we need a new city animal shelter because of this. But if you would just put the things together, we wouldn't have this problem. So if we had affordable rents and we had affordable animal shelters, we would not have homeless pets or homeless people. Why does it take us to keep coming up here month after month to tell you this? All you have to do is pass an ordinance. It's very simple. Just do it. Go to your state legislators, whatever you have to do. This is getting ridiculous. I want to know why you guys keep voting for the same people in the state. Why aren't you giving another party a chance? This party is not the JFK party of our parents. Why don't you give it some Republicans, Green Party, Libertarians? This has got to stop, people, because they're not doing. They're raising our taxes and forcing us out of our homes. Wake up, smell the coffee, look at Europe. Goodbye.
Jordan Hughes. Is Jordan Hughes here? Jordan Hughes is from the East District and will be followed by Isabel Rosa.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for letting me speak here tonight. My name is Jordan. I live in a big building downtown, one of 4 rent-controlled units, and my landlord is one of the largest and wealthiest in the city, so much so that I can't even mention them here by name unless I want to risk coming home and finding myself alive. Why this is necessary, why good cause is necessary, not just for the people who live in landlords who have more than 10 units, but for everybody. I mean, unless one of you can explain why we should be leaving 30,000 of my friends and neighbors out in the cold, and living in fear, basically. I mean, I have to basically go home now every night and worry that somebody's going to be creeping around in my apartment taking pictures. And even if you pass this bill, as it is, it's Russian roulette. I can go to one place and be fine. I can go to the next place and get screwed. The minor threat of inconvenience and hassle of having to follow the rules is not more important than my right to feel safe in my own home, than everybody here's right to be protected from wrongful eviction, from harassment, from extortative rents. Nobody's going to die if you don't pass this bill at its, nobody's going to die with this if you pass good cause. If you don't pass this, and if you pass this with the whatever you want to call it that cuts so many people out of the protections, people might die, because that's what happens sometimes if you're kicked out on the street, especially in a city where it's below freezing half the year. Looks like I'm out of time, but just please do the right thing. You guys are all capable of doing the right thing. Just do the right thing, please.
Isabel Rosa. Isabel Rosa. Luzane Rivers. Ryan Akoff. Ryan Acuff is from the East District and will be followed by Joanna Nesmith Leisure.
Good evening, members of council. I'm coming up here with a lot of bittersweet feelings. What I'm happy about is I'm seeing so many people in the community come together, labor unions, community organizations, tenants, homeowners, faith organizations across the board saying, we are tired of childhood homelessness going up. We are tired of evictions going up. We are tired of rent going up, and that we have concrete solutions. There's many solutions, but this is one that could be immediate with a high impact. And at the same time, I feel a lot of frustration and anger to say back in June, there was legislation that 9 members signed on to, but now I'm hearing people are backsliding and questioning to do anything, right? And this deep democracy gap in this city where we said, oh, we're gonna have the public forums and then we're gonna decide based on that. So we had 4 public forums. And then over 80% of the people that came out, took their time out, took a position, spoke in favor of good cause eviction. And now we're hearing, well, the investors aren't happy. The wealthy folks are not happy about this. So this is just, I don't know, I'm just really, really upset that there's still a number of members on council that don't think we deserve the basic protections that every council member already has. Every homeowner already has good cause eviction protections. Every homeowner already has some price regulation and fixed prices with their mortgages, but that the rest of us don't deserve that. And that just, and then I was just thinking about this morning, and that, so Council President Miguel Melendez, that all your IBERO tenants have good cause eviction.
I'm sorry, your time is up,
Thank you.
sir.
And I think we all deserve
Your
that.
time is up,
Not
sir.
just some tenants, not just the council members has these protections. We all deserve these protections. Thank you.
Joanna Nesmith Leisure. Joanna Nesmith Leisure. Okay. It's from the East District.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me? All right, I'm Joanne Smith Leisure, and you know, I never knew that the city council members are the ones who make up, help us get our city in order. I mean, you get so much money to help the citizens, which we put you in office to do your job. You're in homes, and I'm quite sure your home isn't $1,500 or $1,800 or $2,000 a month. I'm quite sure your home isn't leaking, your roof isn't leaking, and you have a warm furnace to stay warm. You know, I'm quite sure your plumbing is all right. Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be there. You would have the repairs. Okay, so why is it that people who are renting have to go through all this? The roof still leaking. Their heat system is bad. They have lead and mold and asbestos in their homes, and they still pay rent. You want to put them out instead of fixing the homes. This is ridiculous. I'm quite sure that all of y'all might perhaps rent it before. When you buy a home, your home is up to the city code. All right, there's some of these apartment buildings are not up to the city code, and you know it, but you still allow for these big billionaires coming in here, just tearing up our city, having us be homeless, with all this mess going on. I mean, it's ridiculous. People are dying, they're getting upset, and we need that good cause eviction passed as soon as possible. Because it's gonna get bad.
Your time is up, ma'am.
It will get bad, and my mental ability is
up.
off the roof.
I'm sorry.
I haven't worked in 4 years because of this nonsense.
Your time is up.
You need to pass the good cause eviction.
Mickey Prespiora. Thanks. To be followed by William Forrest.
Hi, everybody. The housing crisis has affected me and my loved ones both personally and professionally. Rent prices are too high. Most places do not allow pets or charge outrageous pet rent and deposits. Application fees are sometimes $60 non-refundable. I've had landlords charging illegal amounts in late fees according to New York state law. But the worst part about all of that is no matter what the landlord does or chooses not to do, like fix things, a landlord can still evict someone for no reason at all, no good cause. Over 63% of people rent their homes in the city. Rochester's 2023 homeless count was 803, and 30% of those were youth under 18 years old. We have the highest child poverty rate. The highest child poverty rate, and I could go on. Good cause is a crumb of what the public deserves and has the right to, because housing is a human right. And when people do not have access to affordable housing and are under threat of eviction at all times, there are many devastating effects. Next month, October, the month that you pushed this bill to even be considered for, is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I come from a troubled home. I now work for a domestic violence program. I have seen firsthand how housing crisis affects people in DV situations. People are forced to stay in their abusers, sometimes stay with their abusers, sometimes to horrific consequences. The shelters are full. DSS is putting people into hotel rooms. Drastic measures need to be taken, and you think we're going to accept this abysmal version of good cause? There is no way. There is no way to solve these problems. There is a way to solve these problems. There's no way we're taking this version of good cause. There is a great way to solve these problems, and the start of that is passing the strongest version of good cause. It starts with making sure that landlords can't remove anyone from their homes for no good reason, and everyone deserves that security, not just people whose landlords own less than 10 units. Thank you.
William Forrest. William Forrest. Is William Forrest here? Okay. Liesl Coleman. Is Liesl Coleman here?
Good evening, City Council. My name is Liesl Coleman. I'm a tenant in the South District. And today I want to talk about a particular point of good cause that doesn't get it brought up enough, which is that good cause gives tenants the right to organize their buildings free from retaliation. We've heard tonight about how many people deal with code enforcement issues, deal with issues of the landlord giving illegal fees, the issues of not taking care of their properties. The number one reason when I talk to people about why they don't want to call code enforcement is because they say they will get evicted. And our court system, the legal aid lawyers, the Law New York lawyers, they aren't taking cases to trial for retaliation because they know they will not win. We are seeing a situation in which tenants are not able to enforce any of their other rights because they don't have the protection from being arbitrarily removed from their home for absolutely no reason. If you cannot call code enforcement, if you cannot address your landlord in any meaningful way because they're just going to give you a 30, 60, or 90-day notice to get out, you will not address the conditions in your apartment. And the slumlord model is if someone complains about their apartment, it's easier, cheaper to evict them and get them out than it is to make the repairs. This is the legacy that you will continue to leave in Rochester if you do not pass the strongest version of good cause protections. You all want to see the housing crisis fixed. We can create a legacy together where you guys pass the strongest eviction protections in 60 years in the city of Rochester that will change the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of tenants. It will increase housing stability, it will increase tenants' ability to purchase homes, and it will keep our kids in their homes. Please pass the strongest version of good cause.
Majid Dunson from the South District, to be followed. Well, it says South on here. To be followed by Tony Catano.
First off, we need to understand that Rochester is ranked third as far as poverty. That right there is a policy issue. Understand that. We know who is responsible for it. We have 20% of children, 1 out of 5 children are homeless. 1 out of 5 children are homeless. Children that are homeless is 3 times more likely to drop out of school. Children that drop out of school is 4.5 times more likely to wind up being homeless themselves. There's a cycle going on. I don't have faith in certain people. We need new management. What? We need to galvanize. We need to stick together. We need to get out there, and we need to get the people for the people. There is no we without us. Understand that. I have no faith. And this sign needs to be fired. And y'all can keep the rest of my time.
Tony Catano is from the Northwest District, followed by Maria Gonzalez.
Hi, Council. I'm here because of an apartment complex next to me. I'm a homeowner, and I've called you people over numbers of times. I've talked to the net. You guys set up meetings to face with the landlord and stuff. Nothing gets done. There's rats, there's garbage, there's feces, and now my house smells from all that. This is ridiculous. You guys don't do your job, but you guys want money and stuff. You're quick to send me letters to say it's mine, and when I tell you it's not, you guys don't do nothing. And this guy is from out of state, and he gets away with everything. I think, I do this for a living, apartment complex repairs. A lot of you guys get paid off by the owners, and that I know for a fact. That's got to stop. This is excuse my language, but it's BS that you guys don't do anything. You guys stand up for the landlords, period, and everybody else has to suffer. How would you like to live with rats, smell dog, feces every morning when you wake up, brushes that's not cut? I mean, it looks like a garbage. I mean, you guys are supposed to fix city? It looks like trash. You drive down Charlotte, and I'll give you the name of the complex, Emerald Estates. If you go down there and rent, you're a fool. He doesn't fix anything, and if you complain to any of you guys, he's quick to throw the people out. I know that for a fact because I have a family member there. She called, complained, and she got thrown out because you guys don't want to do your job. Do your job. We pay for our rent, these people. They deserve better treatment than what you guys are given. Do your job. Election time's coming up. I can tell you, half of you guys aren't going to have a job.
Maria Gonzalez from the East District, followed by Lori Thomas.
Hi, I'm Maria Gonzalez. I'm Neighbors Unite 585, representing the group. Here because they bought the lands. I don't know who bought the lands, so from Laura and East Main Street, and they want to do some projects in there that us as the community don't agree. They haven't even talked to the community to see if the community agree with the project. They only talk to certain people, and that's it. So I'm here so they can communicate to the people out there on Beechwood and let them know what's going on, because they promised a police building in there so we can get everybody secure, okay? Not only the east, the west, the south. We need a police station over here. So in order for that, I want so they can communicate with the community before they do that breaking in. So if they did a promise they're supposed to commit. So, and also, I've been doing a walking around, zip code 14621, 14605, 609, 606. And if you have seen Melendez, all the destruction that is in there, okay? We need help with the community all over, okay? Not only in one place, and I want the Father Tracy outreach out of Clayton section. Yes. And it's not run by Mercedes Vasquez Steven. It's run by Beatrice LeBron, okay? I always talk with the facts in my hands. So I want everything to go the right way and stop doing, because all that killing in there gotta stop. And the drugs possession too.
Lori Thomas. Lori Thomas is from the East District and will be followed by Ember Mendez.
Good evening. As I listened to the September 11th and 12th Council Committee meetings, there were questions asked whose answers came in the form of a written response. While the public was made privy to the questions, we were not made aware of the answers, when they were provided, or by whom. This information is vital, as are any questions the general public might have that were not considered. As citizens, we have been lax in our oversight duties. However, for many of us, that position has changed. We are no longer willing to sit by while our federal, state, and local tax dollars are being inefficiently and ineffectively used. Anti-violence, anti-drugs, and anti-poverty initiatives have been receiving millions for decades, and our city school district budget, also tax dollars, now over $1 billion, is also being used inefficiently and ineffectively. We will no longer accept a controlling local government that tells its citizens what it is going to do. It will become a transparent, citizen responsive government whose actions are overseen by members of the community, and evaluated for the effectiveness and efficiency of the leadership of the organizations funded with our tax dollars. This includes City Council. We have used funding to address the symptoms of poverty without attacking the cause. The causes of poverty exist because they create wealth for a very few. We have continually approached our state, county, and local elected officials to perform a forensic audit of all Monroe County, Rochester, and RCSD budgets and programs. The fact that none of you have supported us leads us to believe that all of you are unresponsive to our voice. So Neighbors Unite 585 will gather the support we need from the community to obtain a forensic audit. This wouldn't be necessary if we have not heard more than once that a 501c3 has misappropriated their funding. If we were not told again and again that there is little you can do about the crime in our city. It wouldn't be necessary if our children were not critically impoverished. So it is my intent to inform you of our intent. Neighbors Unite 585 will affect positive change in Rochester, New York for our children and our citizenry. And you might have to leave.
Ember Mendez. Ember Mendez is from the South District and will be followed by Tyrone Hodge.
Most of you know me, but my name is Ember Mendez. I'm a child of a single mother of 7, and she is also a tenant going through an unjust eviction by greedy landlords that care about nothing more but raising the rent and getting a higher paying tenant to move in. My mom has had to deal with this for years now, a constant cat and mouse game. She and so many other tenants and families shouldn't have to deal with this. It's horrible, and I'm tired of seeing this. Passing the strongest version of good cause automatically discontinues my mom's case and so many others. These are families, single parents, and children we are talking about. You have power to say yes. So why are we still here sounding like broken records, asking for a single human right? It's exhausting and rage-inducing. Actually helping families starts by passing the law. Hopefully next month we could come here and this bill is passed because it has to be. I know who here is in agreement to pass it, but I also know who here isn't, or who are still on the fence. So to those members who are sitting in those chairs, for a reason, you have a power for a reason, or where you squander it and turn a blind eye to the communities in the city that needs you. Thank you.
Tyrone Hodge. Tyrone Hodge is from the South District and will be followed by Lynn Anderson.
Good evening, council members and President. I was recalling a memory from my economical professor in 2018 where she had ordered in order to live comfortably in Rochester, New York, you should be making about $28 and change. I thought since we were doing studies, we should add this to the list. I have a desire in the near future to become a property owner, desirably because I would like to practice my thoughts which arrived from knowledge, from research about this community's history. That approximately 50 years ago or so, black and brown communities were not allowed to purchase properties or stay in hotels. If it were not for organizations of that day and era, I believe home ownership is a privilege, a great accomplishment, a sense of definition of an overcomer, achiever, authority. But with that comes great responsibility. Scriptures says, to whom much is given, much is required. Blessed to be a blessing. One landlord said to me, I will walk you out of this apartment to the street like a puppy dog on a leash. I said to him, why do you have to talk to me like that? He said, I'm just letting you know. Here's a take on landlords reimagined. Build better relationship with your tenants. This landlord also said, don't think that the great conversation we had will get you anywhere. One to think on. How about being influential, watchful, discerning in the way of being helpful? Maybe because your statue can help somebody and the information, you could provide information. We are from Rochester. Rochester has always been first. I heard a lot of first things happen in Rochester.
Your time is up,
so
sir.
We need to get back to being first. We shouldn't be last on passing the most strongest version of eviction protection in our city. We are always first.
Your time is up. Thank you. Lynn Anderson. Lynn Anderson. Is Lynn Anderson here? Elizabeth McGriff. Elizabeth McGriff? Timothy Dunn? Oh, Elizabeth McGriff, okay.
Hi, I just think, City Council, we've been going through this for a long time. And it's time just to make a decision for the people of this community. Whose side are you on? The people's side or landlords and developers? We've been suffering. We've been coming to you. We've been pouring out our hearts, telling you what's happening in our city. We've been telling you about the code enforcement and what's been happening to people and the number of evictions. Yet and still, there's no movement. There's no action. People are getting tired of not being heard. You understand that housing is the first rudimental thing that people need. They need this to thrive in the community. If you don't have housing, how can you go to school and expect to learn? If you have a landlord that doesn't keep up with the property and has mold in the basement, how are you going to breathe? It's hurting our families. You need to do something to change this. We need the strongest version of good cause eviction. We cannot no longer sit by and have you do nothing.
Timothy Dunn. Is Timothy Dunn here? Timothy Dunn is from the East District and will be followed by Mary Coffey.
In 2017, I moved into a house on Benton Street near South Clinton. For the nearly 7 years I lived in that house, I never missed a rent payment. I got to know all my neighbors, I shoveled the driveways, I picked up trash, and we all kept an eye out for each other. In the spring of 2023, my landlord, who owned many properties, called to inform me he was selling them. In the fall, my new landlord, who also owns many properties, informed me I had to be out by New Year's. For the last few months, I had no roommates, and rent took all I had. In November, I found a trailer for rent that I could afford on the Genesee River down by the airport. Only later would I come to find out that the man renting it out, Aaron Rubin, is a notorious slumlord. I spent over a month in that trailer without heat in the dead of winter. The pipes burst. In the spring, the solar panel system stopped working. In June, I was kicked out with less than a month's notice. In the few weeks I had left there, my trailer and shed were burglarized. So there I was, in a 6-month span, evicted twice, for no good reason. Most of my valuables gone, nowhere to keep my mattress, nowhere to get my mail. Thankfully, my girlfriend was nice enough to take me into her very tiny space she found after she herself was recently evicted. I was lucky. Some people may argue that passing stronger good cause protections will hurt smaller landlords, and to whatever extent that is true, I'll concede the point to move past it. I know how to search property records on the county clerk's website. Until we require a first and last name for the owning of residential real estate, these small landlords are going to obfuscate just how many they own to deny tenants protections they all deserve. Miguel Melendez, I voted for you in 2021 alongside Stanley Martin. My otherwise stable life has been upended in the past year, as have the lives of many of my friends, due in no small part to the greed of people who may, on paper, own less than 10 properties. So as the landed gentry insist they need to make a profit, as winter approaches, as our severely undercounted homeless population seems to nearly double every year, the way you engage with this issue as president of City Council will weigh heavily on it if I vote for you again. Thank you.
Mary Coffey. Is Mary Coffey here? Reverend Myra Brown. Reverend Myra Brown is from the Northwest District and will be followed by Maggie Kane.
Hi, I'm here to urge your support for a stronger version of good cause eviction. As I look across this room, people here and in our community are being traumatized by your inaction on this issue. When people are suffering, those with power to alleviate that suffering should do so. I hope that you'll take up this responsibility and amend good cause. Leaders should always safeguard the powerless and not the powerful. Anyone who has the power to render people homeless arbitrarily without cause is the definition of the powerful. And so you've passed good cause eviction, but it's not the best version. The version that you've passed is a version with minimalism in it. And practicing minimalism isn't helpful ever. It isn't helpful when you have racial justice policies or housing policies. And so you can pass the best and the strongest version. And I'm here to urge you to do that. The version that we have of good cause eviction is it continues to contribute to the crisis of housing affordability and homelessness in our community. And we can do better. We can do better. And if we can do better, we should. We should just do better. And if we pass a better version of good cause, it won't leave over 120,000 tenants without protection. I'm a homeowner. Many of you are homeowners, and we have the protections. The bank just can't come in and take our house and not give us due process, right? It can't exploit us. And so I want for renters what I have for myself. And I hope that you want that too, because it's a moral issue. And if you want something for yourself that you don't want for somebody else, then that's a whole deeper problem. So I hope that because this community put their trust in you and voted for you to be the leaders that we need you to be, that you will listen to them and that you will give them the strongest version. Join cities like Albany and give us the strongest version of good cause. Thank you.
Maggie Kane. Maggie Kane is from the East District.
Hi, Maggie Kane here again for the third year, every once a month, every Thursday, once a month. So I'm speaking about Rochester Animal Services, still has no vet 6 months after the vet left her position due to no support from the city. Shirley Green blames that the vet shortage, but the new Rochester Emergency Hospital that's going to be opening up in East Rochester just hired 4 vets, and Bay Street Animal Clinic that lost their vet hired a new one very quickly. Asking you to look at the actual salary of what you're trying to pay a vet that comes into an overcrowded shelter, underfunded, crumbling. So looking at that, also there's 2 vet techs, and one of them who's been there for 6 years just resigned. So the gist of all this is, once again, Rochester Animal Services is adopting out unspayed and unneutered pets. which is causing actually, the mayor is responsible for a lot of the backyard breeding because he won't give enough money to get real staff in there that can make a difference. So they're contributing to it, and I guess I'm just floored because I've been speaking to you. I've met with many of you. We had meetings. We were talking, and then nothing happened. I realize you have a lot of things going on, but this has been going on for 3 years with this particular subject. So even the worst shelters in Texas have spay and neutering before you adopt out an animal. So you're gonna see a lot more animals dumped, and also if you don't pass the good cause eviction, you're gonna see even more animals dumped because there's no room at the shelter, people don't know what to do, and it's just an effect of all these things that need to be passed. So I'm asking you once again to be a voice for the voices of people and animals. Thank you.
Grant Marthinson. Grant Marthinson is from the South District and will be followed by Zoe Christanis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Grant Marthinson. I'm the board chair of Refugees Helping Refugees and an active participant in the newly formed SHAC Coalition. As a result, I've had a lot of conversations lately about good cause. I've heard some concerns, like the idea that it might not be compatible with the state constitution, but I think it's worth pointing out that if Albany, Ithaca, and 4 other cities have passed it without triggering a constitutional crisis or cratering the rental market, that these laws could work here too. They could protect people here in Rochester too. There are many reasons for us to pass the best possible version of good cause. For a long time, Rochester was at the forefront of innovation and economic progress. We have the chance to lead again now, instead of bringing up the rear. Adopting the proposed amendment will allow tens of thousands of Rochester residents to enjoy the same protections afforded solely to the tenants of large landlords under the current version of good cause. I'm here to urge City Council to do the right thing for those tens of thousands of renters here in Rochester by adopting the best version of good cause. What do we want? Good cause! When do we want it? Now! Thank you.
Zoe Christanis. Zoe Christanis is from the town of Chi-Light and will be followed by Travis Kovitz. By the clerk.
He's on the list. He's on the list, don't worry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. RAS has a new director. This is a long time coming, but there are many obstacles to overcome. The shelter still has no vet. Now one of their only 2 vet techs has resigned. Animals continue to fill the shelter while staff leave or are terminated. The Mean Girls Club that was created by the former shelter manager continues to exist and poison the work environment. Not surprising, since the new manager was groomed for years by the prior. Rudeness, disrespect, and intimidation are the management style, which I personally experienced during my time volunteering there. Grown women being unprofessional and immature, setting the worst example for others to follow, and they do. Commissioner Green and Sarah Fletcher were advised by us, the former vet, and other staff and volunteers that this person was not management material, yet they gave her the position anyway. Why would they disregard the wish of so many? Negligence or sabotage? The commissioner makes it a point to tell everyone she's never owned a pet and never intends to. This is who we entrust the rebuilding of RAS. I am extremely concerned. We lost a great veterinarian, a compassionate vet tech of 6 years, and the toxic work environment lives on. This is what the new director has inherited. Do not allow the commissioner to drive her out, Vice President Harris. The shelter cannot afford this loss. We need this director to be fully supported and succeed. And we're still waiting to hear what the decision is on whether RAS is being renovated or if we're getting a new building. Everything takes so long, it's a shame. Thank you.
Travis Kovitz. Travis Kovitz is from the town of Arundecoit and will be followed by Oscar Brewer.
Council members, passing good cause eviction is the bare minimum. We have a homelessness crisis in Rochester. Our shelters are full. We do not have any shelters for LGBT adults. Without good cause eviction, what we have is no cause eviction. And that means there's no housing protections to protect those same LGBT adults who can't have access to a safe shelter. I've known people who were evicted for no cause after, their landlord realized that they were transgender. And then I've had these same people try to get new housing, and if their ID doesn't match because they have a new name or they look different now, then they can't even sign a lease because the landlords will give them such a hard time. People want to stay in their communities. People want to stay where they live. When my family experienced a situation where there was some mold, the kitchen had to be stuff taken out, and the landlord wouldn't replace our sink or our oven or anything, my parents made the decision to just stay there and wait it out and wash our dishes in the bathroom because we would rather stay in our community than have to try and find a new home to live in because we want to stay with our neighbors. So we need this strongest version of good cause eviction. It's the bare minimum for our homelessness crisis. We can sign it tonight, and tomorrow there will be people that we're helping. And we need to help all of those people. Thinking about, we need the strongest version of a good cause eviction. Thank you.
Oscar Brewer.
Councilmember Michael, President Miguel Melendez. Sir, how are you doing tonight? It's an honor to see you. Councilmember Stanley Martin, and to two other council members that are not here, Mary Lupian and Councilmember Kim Smith, thank you so much for being champions for good cause eviction from day one when I first met my past council member, Michael Patterson, on Zoom, fighting for good cause years ago, right? Remember this little girl, Councilmember Patterson? The little girl you were allowed to get evicted last year by a slumlord that owns 14 properties in Rochester in your district. We're not going to go there tonight. Well, I'm going to hit you with his numbers. Over 80% of your constituents, starting with your district, Vice President Lachey Harris, ending with your district, Councilmember Bridget Monroe. Over 80% of your combined constituents said pass the strongest version of good cause eviction, correct? Close to 30 people have signed up tonight just to say pass the strongest version of good cause eviction protection. 1 out of 5 students are homeless already in our school district. Give yourself a round of applause for not doing a damn thing to stop that. We will meet you at the polls. I'm in your district every day, sir, talking to your constituents, listening to their cries. Why aren't you? You can make a ribbon cut and you can talk to your constituents. That goes to all of you up there. That goes to all of you up there. How dare you be out there for a photo op with the mayor, but you can't stand for the people that elect you to the office. My next step, and this is not a threat, this is a guarantee, If I don't get a resolution passed, the strongest version of good cause eviction protection, I'm leaking your donors out. What do you want? What do you want? When do you want it? If we don't get it. If we don't get it. If we don't get it. If we don't get it.
Is Martha Soriero here? Martha Soriero? Robin Wilt? Robin Wilt? Okay. Cassandra Bradley.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Bradley. I am a resident of the City of Rochester for over 15 years. I'm also a homeowner in the District 14621, which is Mike Patterson District, for the last 6 years. I'm here tonight because of the lack of transparency of our system and also the mental hygiene arrests that we need in District 14621. I want to talk about the fact that on June 30th of this year, there was an unruly party that my next door neighbor had, which they do sell drugs out of the house, which I have told Mike Patterson, Malik Evans, the police force. I've been going through this for the last 3 months. I literally was assaulted on my front porch step. There was over 70 people where they had an after hour, and I was assaulted by 2 girls on my front porch step. City of Rochester, all I've been trying to do is just get them to write a nuisance on the drug house next door. Ask me if they've done it yet. Ask me why they haven't done it yet. Secondly, I called you, Lachey Harris, 4 times over the last week. You did not respond. There's no reason for you to respond now. I'm just letting you know I walked for you. I walked for you, Mike Patterson, and I walked for you too, Lachey. And I didn't even get a phone call back from you. I am very upset. But you guys don't care because it's not on your front doorstep. Okay, but it was on my front doorstep. I was assaulted. And you need more. What else do you need to put the nuisance on the house next door? Do I need to get killed? More people need to be killed in my neighborhood? I want you guys, when you go in front of Malik Evans on Tuesday, which I will be there, and also the people in my district will be there, because I want to know why a nuisance hasn't been placed on the drug house next door, which assaulted me. Excuse me, but I have 3 properties that I own in this city. I pay $11,000 in taxes a year. And I can't even get the police department to come out and write a correct police report.
Your time is up.
Figure it out.
ma'am.
Your time is up.
No, I'm not elected.
You have a good one.
Wayman Daniels. Wayman Daniels. Is Wayman Daniels here? Samantha Boyd. Is Samantha Boyd here?
Hi. I'm here with what I'm hoping is a really simple request, which is just to get the street sign replaced on the corner of my street that we've been trying for about 2 years to get replaced. I'm really hoping that, we can get this replaced. The sign disappeared. I'm worried that first responders or police might not be able to find myself and my neighbors if needed. We have had, some crime on the street. I'm on Edgerton Street, which is generally supposedly a safe area, but we have had a house across the street broken into. I have had police, knocking at my door at 4 a.m. saying, open up. We got a request for, someone is in crisis. Turns out they had the wrong address, potentially because there is no street sign and hasn't been for 2 years. We have made some repeated calls to 311 and Monroe County Department of Transportation. We were told ultimately that it's a budget issue and that because signs can be stolen, that they're not going to replace it. Did some research. It looks like it's about $35 to just get a sign printed, added on top of the stop sign. At this point, if I can get permission to add that myself, I would. But again, I live right across from an elementary school. There has been some crime in the area. To me, this seems like a pretty simple request. Again, it's been about 2 years, and I'm just really hoping I can get a street sign and protect myself and my neighbors. Thank you.
Nina Gaines. Is Nina Gaines here? Maudine Brown. Maudine Brown. Robert Hendricks. Robert Hendricks is from the South District.
My name is Rob Hendricks. I'm a city resident, a local business owner, and a neighbor to the business Exotic Roots on South Avenue. I am here to speak in opposition to Exotic Roots being issued permits to operate as a music venue and event space. Exotic Roots has a history of serious legal violations. Their previous location on University Avenue was shut down for operating as an unlicensed marijuana dispensary. According to city employees, they're not even supposed to be in business anymore. Despite this, Exotic Roots continues to operate as an unlicensed dispensary. This is easily verified looking online, a synopsis of which I will read to you now. Alex from Google reviews, hydro store or marijuana dispensary. They barely have growing supplies. Corey from Facebook, fire selection of edibles and flowers. Tiger Carts from the Rochester marijuana subreddit. They carry our vapes. I showed him my lab results and he was like, I will take everything you have. I will also note that the user Tiger Carts posted their distillate test results, which showed their cartridges tested positive for trifloxystrobilin, a commonly used pesticide for mold at a rate of over 9 micrograms. That's more than 45 times the legal limit established by New York State. But whether or not you believe the lie that they're an honest hydroponic store and not an illegally operated dispensary selling pesticide-laced products to the public, let's discuss their application to become a music venue. Exotic Roots is located in a dense residential area, and much to the disdain of the neighbors, has already been organizing unacceptably loud concerts without city authorization. This is a decibel meter. I'm pointing it out to you so you know that these numbers were not pulled out of the air. Exotic Roots has repeatedly held concerts in excess of 110 decibels. Exposure to this level of noise for more than a minute causes permanent hearing loss. Each time, the interior of my house was in excess of 85 decibels. That is 85 decibels past where OSHA mandates hearing protection. Yet despite repeat requests to lower the volume, every time I have had to call 911 because they refuse to turn it down. This is a waste of emergency response services. In summary, Exotic Roots has been unacceptably disruptive to our community. I urge this council to consider the vast negative impacts Exotic Roots has already had on our community and deny their application to operate as a music venue or event space. I also encourage the city to rise to the challenge and actually shut them down for good this time. Thank you very much for your time.
Josh Jennison. Josh Jennison is from the South District.
So I'm going to go off about what Rob just said. So I'm here in opposition of Exotic Roots, trying to be approved for a music venue. Let me begin by expressing my unwavering support for local businesses and vibrant community of South Wedge. Music is also an integral part of my life and my wife's life. We often enjoy listening to music at home. My wife also frequently DJs. We attend numerous concerts, festivals, and outdoor events where music is loud and we enjoy it. However, these events are choices that we make and we do not impose them on others. During one of Exotic Roots events, the volume was so excessive that we could not watch TV or listen to our own music without being overwhelmed by the noise. We could hear the bass throughout our entire home and every word the artist was saying. This level of disturbance is unacceptable in a residential neighborhood. Music should be about respect for everyone, and blasting it at such high volumes has no place in a community of families, children, and pets. Everyone has the right to be in the comfort of their own home and not be subjected to intrusive noise at a concert of this level. During their last event, our cats were so frightened they hid in the basement. I can only imagine the distress experienced by dog owners. Our landlord recorded the noise in his living room, 95 decibels, a volume dangerous to anyone. This is also the level that OSHA requires employees to wear hearing protection. Anything over 85 is well above that. The fact that this was their first event showed they had no consideration for the neighborhood and demonstrates a blatant disregard for the love and support that this community stands for. In conclusion, the excessive noise is not just a nuisance, it is a violation of our right to peace and quiet in our own homes. It is a matter of respect for the community. It is an imperative that we address this issue to preserve the harmony and well-being of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Stephen Hartog. Stephen Hartog. Tiara Grayson. Clayton Lyons. Clayton Lyons is from the East District and will be followed by Angela Mines.
Hello, Council. My name is Clayton. I'm a resident of Swilberg. For 4 years now, I have come to you and provided both statistics and examples of the connection between violence and basic needs, such as housing, food, and energy. You may have already heard some of the stats I'm going to provide tonight. If so, they deserve repeating. Okay, so tonight I am once again here to provide context for the decision before you about good cause eviction. It's a good thing we're talking about good cause eviction. Here's the thing, though, is that for public policy to shape social reality, we can't half-ass it, right? We got to do it for real. We can't water down protections. In the past year, homelessness has doubled in Rochester. Doubled in a year, right? The rate of housing insecurity is up exponentially, and with it comes violence, addiction, trauma. Chronic homelessness is up a third from last year. From the time we began keeping these stats, 2007, the number of unsheltered folks has increased to 470%. It is not going down. Evictions are back to their pre-pandemic levels. A lot of folks are asking, where is this violence coming from? Why are children stealing so many cars, carrying so many guns, dying and killing more than we have seen? Well, look no further than these numbers. Know that when you have an entire generation growing up with a child poverty rate near 50% and an insecure housing rate near 25%, then you will see rates of violence and poor school performance that we are seeing. This is really easy to read. So this is where good cause eviction comes in. We need to reverse this trend. I don't know what your watered-down version is about, if you're trying to compromise with businesses or maybe say you're playing both sides or what, but make no mistake, we can't compromise about housing, not when it is the single most accurate prediction of life expectancy and wealth building, or in Rochester's case, segregation and oppression. Pass good cause in full, our city is suffering under your watch. Thank you.
Angela Mines. Angela Mines is from the Northwest District.
Yes, my name is Angela Mines. I am for the good cause. Not to mention that I feel that you guys as people need to either step up to your plate, do your jobs, or step back. Because of the fact of one, that the landlords are getting away with murder, violating people's rights, unlawfully evict people, and even my service animal. They don't allow service animals in shelters, homeless shelters, or in a lot of places without money. They're paying money for it. That's not right. And it's not appropriate. And I am appalled of how the homeless people are being treated in homeless shelters. I wish any one of you to go to these shelters and eat some of their food that they're giving. They ain't fit for an animal to eat. My dog wouldn't eat from open door mission. That says a lot about it. Thank you.
Cheryl Robinson. Cheryl Robinson is from the East District.
Rochester Police Department, Goodman Section Office. This was originally approved years ago and was put on hold in an act of cowardice. Neighbors were just informed at the September Beechwood meeting that the parcels originally set aside for the RPD Goodman Section Office on East Main and Laura Street would no longer be. Instead, it would be an office for the Southeast Neighborhood Center, and the rest would be set aside for commercial and residential use. This was after many homes were torn down for the specific purpose of having it as the Goodman Section Office. Many other neighborhoods that attended that meeting were also in shock at this news. This backroom BS is not acceptable. I am ready to resume our version of community policing in my neighborhood. I would like you to consider restoring the original plan because it's just not going to work for us. Thank you.
Emma Burns. Albert Algarin, James Boyd, Russell Kelly. Russell Kelly is from the town of Gates and will be followed by Kevin Lockhart.
We sat here, said it a long time ago, called out the code violation right here at the podium. Nice that you see that you guys moved it over. But now today my words are here to stand up for we the people, no matter your race, color, religion. During that time of horror, I sat down and retrained my mind while I was battling my demons at the same time through music, God, TikTok, individuals on TikTok. Now listen to this and make sure the government understands these words I'm speaking. These words I speak don't need a musical beat to shake the ground beneath your feet once your heart starts to beat with belief. I really want you to understand, fam, I'm not doing it for fame or fortune. Started doing it because of my own misfortune. Broke white boy from the hood, always misunderstood, did everything good like a good little white boy should. Graduated from middle school to high school looking like a geeked out Fonzie rally clown with a frown. Now I'm standing our ground as the people's broke president I will exist, bound for your freedoms and your demons that exist. Because I really don't understand what's going on with the peoples in these lands. Did you not really understand your history class? I graduated with an IP diploma as the top of my class. I'm an individually educated person. You see, that's what it means to me. But ironically, IEP backwards means president's education is inadequate, and as you can see, this whole world's going whack, acting like you're all smoking on that presidential crack they held back. Understand these words I'm speaking. It's not treason. It's standing for a reason. Jesus is putting these words in my heart because the people need pleasing. Together we stand stronger, love harder, reunite, and we shall go further in any fight. We, the people of the world, choose no more mass massacre, slavery, segregation, right elimination, or human life assassination. Because we're all going to die bleeding in the same blood-red rivers. It's our choice if it leads to an ocean of love or to keep allowing the governments to control the flow, the segregated ponds of hate. Some of y'all really want going whack on that presidential crack they held back. How are you going to be in these positive positions, balancing the battles your ancestors did just so you can reside in these positions with less disgrace and discrimination? Now you're helping to bring slavery back, putting your brothers and sisters back on the back for a paycheck. My dad taught us that the N-word meant that you're an ignorant person. It had nothing to do with your race, color, or religion. Human greed had the same qualities all its life. So stand up for one another and do what's right.
Kevin Lockhart from the
My
town
name is
of
Kevin.
Webster.
I wanted to come today and address this freak show of a government. First of all, there's a Kamala Harris stand-up poster over there that you have to remove because you can't advocate for a political candidate from your bench. That is wholly inappropriate. Also, I expect that in the future, this meeting will be live streamed. You're trying to diminish our voice and suppress us however you possibly can. And as you see, these people are getting really tired of it. But I do want to actually address the people because I'm turning my back to this government here. And I just want to ask you all, are you discouraged and demoralized and defeated? This is legislated chaos. Since 1840, the city manager system in Rochester has been proven not to work. If a third of the county population is in the city, then a third of the election seats need to be apportioned to the city. But how many election seats are apportioned to the city in context to the county? Only about 4.6%. They're rigging the votes. So we have all these crises, and we're guaranteed a one-to-one vote under the 14th Amendment, and they're suppressing the city residents. Thank you. So that you can't have local government. Instead, they pimp you out to 501(c)(3)s. And what do? Go and ruin the Peace Village, right? So you can't have nice things. Can't have housing, can't have a police department in a neighborhood that desperately needs it. What? And there's a centralized police department. We should have a decentralized police department. We should have 10 different police departments so that you can have local police, so that it works, so that they can go to, we're paying $102 in overtime per hour for the police to go and escort the kids out of the buildings in the city, the school buildings, because they can't manage a school district. When there's let me ask you this. When there's a public safety crisis in Rochester, in the districts, whose district does it fall into? Most often, one of these people, right? Right. And what are they saying? What are they saying? Do they have out there with the victims? Ridiculous.
Your time is
stop voting
up.
for the Democrats. We have to turn our back, stop voting for these filthy, cop-killing Democrats.
Are we going to go back through again? Okay. So we're going to go back through for the people that weren't there. Anita Jones. Is Anita Jones here? Is Justine Harris? Justine Harris. Robert McFarlane. Robert McFarlane, okay.
Hi. I can't speak as eloquently as many of the other people spoke for the strongest, most possible good cause eviction legislation. It's way past time to pass that. I'm fortunate enough, I'm speaking on behalf of the people that aren't fortunate enough, like that young man that lived on Benton Street. He used to live in the same neighborhood I do. I'm fortunate that there's a property. I don't use landlord and landlady. That's feudalism to me. Nobody lords over me. Not a government, not anyone. Anyway, the property owner where I live has raised the rent 3% each time I've had to sign a new lease. That's fair. These price gouging, these exorbitant rent increases just to get people out so the property owners can continue to exploit human beings is disgusting. And you've heard enough of the testimony month after month of people that are at the mercy of these greedy, and I won't use the filthy words that I want to use because that's what best describes them. I have nothing else to add. Thank you. Free Palestine!
Isabel Rosa. Is Isabel Rosa here? Luzanne Rivers. Luzanne Rivers. William Forrest. Lynn Anderson. Mary Coffey. Martha Soriero. Robin Wilt. Wayman Daniels. Nina Gaines. Maudine Brown. Stephen Hartog. Tiara Grayson. Emma Barnes. Albert Algarin. James Boyd. And Wahid Muhammad from the East District.
Yes, Waleed Muhammad. I have some serious concerns about the current state of housing market and the energy crisis and the adverse effect these issues have on residents of Rochester, particularly in the Beechwood district where I've lived for 4 years. During this time, I've witnessed struggles of families in our community who are increasingly disadvantaged by investors engaged in bidding wars over property. Research reveals that since COVID to present, a mere 1% of buyers have purchased 90% of the available property in Beechwood, primarily corporations and LLCs. On March 22nd, 2023, a single corporation bought 100 houses across Rochester, and this trend shows no signs of slowing. The City of Rochester has permitted foreign investors and corporations to buy residential properties, which has displaced local families and disturbed the community's fabric through third-party private investors, and this reason will be why you will have a housing crisis. Mayor Evans' slogan to buy up the block was presumed to empower minority communities, but instead it has favored wealthy investors. The rise of Airbnbs has further intensified the problem as it doesn't foster family stabilities or community building. Instead, families are shuffled between properties without proper rental rights, often endured subpar living conditions. Landlords avoid making necessary repairs, and fair housing laws are skirted, leading to housing discrimination. This instability has severe mental health consequences, including hopelessness, despair, depression, and substance abuse. The influx of investors, especially in the wake of the marijuana legalization, has capitalized on Mayor Evans' policies, acquiring property at discounted rates and tax deferrals. This has transferred Rochester into a playground for investors, while residents face modern-day financial enslavement. Both Democrats and Republicans have capitalized on this situation, contributing to the imbalance of power and equality in our city. While they distract us with events like partying in the park, the real issues are ignored, and our neighborhoods are being sold off to the highest bidder. I am not opposed to capitalism, but when it infringes on our liberties and livelihood, it must be.
Your time is up.
We cannot allow small elite, the elite to jeopardize the future.
Your
of our
time is
residents.
up.
I'm almost there. I'm just 3 minutes.
Oh, no.
I'm
Time
not
is
at
up.
3
I'm
minutes. I got
sorry.
2 lines, ma'am. Our city should not be a commodity for investors to profit from at the expense of the local families.
Your time
and
is up.
residents. The 100,000 for public utility. For public utility study indicates that they recognize the abuse of Avigrid. However, this idea is opposed by Adam Bello and Mayor Evans, who have received campaign contributions from Avigrid. This opposition speaks volumes about where their loyalty lies. As a volunteer member of Metro Justice Red, I've seen how Avigrid has infiltrated movements advocating to change, using strategies that those movements come up with to subdue residents and kill grassroots efforts. This time has come for us to recognize that those we entrusted to lead and protect us are now in fact serving the interests of those who seek to oppress us. Thank you for your time.
So we have reached the end of our Speak to Council session. Thank you for all who attended and spoke tonight. Our regular meeting will be on Tuesday, September 24th at 6 p.m. here in Chambers. Have a good night.
So this is just our mixer here?
Yeah.
And then we plugged it into the city sound over there. James Smith both suggested that.
Nice.
It's quite nice. It really is. The sound is really good.
Gotta work on getting that press tag.
I know. Yeah, go ahead. Let me get you on camera.